No time for complex financial planning? Give me less than 10 minutes and I'll show you how to build your core small business financial projections using our simple, free Excel templates. So today we're going to show you how to create your business's financial projections using two templates, profit and loss statement and cash flow forecast, available to you in the description below. Be sure to download them and follow along. Now let's start with a quick recap on what you need to get started. You're going to need a sales forecast, right? The starting point for all projections. So think about what it is your business sells and how much of it. You're going to need some expense projections. So fixed costs like rent, salaries, insurance, variable costs, right? So that might be buying inventory, direct labor, marketing might be variable, cost of goods sold. You're also going to have to think about some key assumptions, right? What are the growth rates for your business? What are your payment terms, both for your vendors and for your customers? And do you have to take into account inflation, tariffs, other things that might affect how your business does? Now, if you're not sure what these are, go watch our sales forecasting video before we dive into creating your actual financial projections. So we're going to jump into our profit and loss forecast. Let's start with a quick definition. The P&L shows your business's profitability. It shows everything that you sell and what it costs to sell it and all your fixed costs and expenses. We're going to walk through our free template. If you've downloaded, go ahead and follow along while I'm doing this. First of all, when you download that template, I've opened it in Google Sheets, but you can open it in Excel. We're going to have some instructions for you. Read those instructions, lots of really useful help. But then we're going to just jump right into this income statement, profit and loss. So you can see it's a very simple statement, right? Here you can see how much are we going to make sales? And we've just filled it out for you just to show you how it all works with some really basic numbers. But this is where you could actually put in, oh no, I'm not going to sell $100. I'm going to sell $1,000, right? And then maybe month 2, I'm going to sell $1,500. So you can see how you can actually use it and just type in your sales. Then you're going to think about your direct costs, right? So that's what it costs to sell whatever it is you're selling, widgets that you're selling. So maybe every widget you sell for $100 and you're selling 1,000 widgets, right? That's why we've got $1,000 here. And maybe every widget you sell costs you 20 cents. So that's where you're seeing 1,020 here, right? Because $20 for those 1,000 widgets, that's where it is. These are numbers you're going to need to have and know, but you can put them into this statement. Now we've got our gross margin. Now we can start actually putting in our operating expenses. So again, just to make this simple, we've just showed you how you can do this, and we've shown you just 1 month. So salary and wages, $10. That's probably not what you're gonna have for your salary and wages, but let's say it's $250, right? Because we're selling $1,000. And then what are employee-related expenses? If you have wages, you're gonna have to pay payroll taxes and benefits and such, so that's in here. How much are you gonna pay for insurance, equipment? We've got it all listed in here. If there's other things that you wanna add, you can insert rows, right? It works just like a spreadsheet, and we've given you that basic template to keep you on track. Then you're gonna have your total operating expenses. We're gonna give you your operating income, and at the end of it, we're gonna calculate your net profit. And right now, we're pretty profitable, but that's of course because we haven't filled in, as soon as I put that rent is maybe $500, then all of a sudden you can see our profitability has gone down. So this is all linked, ready to go. Now, if you want something that's just a little bit easier and you hate spreadsheets and maybe you're a little bit afraid of them, you can actually use LivePlan. And LivePlan will help you really easily do some financial projections. So you can see here, we've got some revenue projections. This is a coffee shop. I've got some espresso drinks, and I've been able to forecast. I'm going to sell 900 drinks. You can see that. The main thing to see in LivePlan is we're going to hold your hand and everything is going to be laid out for you so you can do the thinking, we can do the details. So next I'm going to show you the cash flow forecast, which tracks actual cash movement in and out of your bank account, which is absolutely vital. So we're going to do a little walkthrough in the template. If you've downloaded, get it up there in Excel, in Google Sheets, so that you can follow along. So here's our cash flow template, right? So it has month one, cash received. Here's your cash sales, right? That's if people are paying you immediately with cash or even with credit card, because that immediately goes into your bank account. So what are your cash sales? Maybe they're $500. You can type it right in there. What is the cash from your accounts receivable? That's if you invoice people. So maybe it's another $250 that you've collected in accounts receivable. And so you've got a total cash of $750. Now you can see after you have your total cash from operations, and you can fill it in for each month, that we have areas here where you can put in other cash that you may have received. Maybe you've got some loans, right? Maybe you took out a $10,000 loan, so there it is. You've got a $10,000 loan. Maybe you don't have investments, you just have that loan. If you've sold an asset, maybe you had a truck that you don't need for your business anymore and you sold it, you can put that in here. And you can also see that if you are collecting sales tax, maybe depending on what state you live in or what country you live in, and you can put that sales tax in here, because when you collect it, you're gonna have to pay it out at some point. So you wanna document that. So whatever it might be. Right now, I'm just gonna put cash from loans in here, and I don't have investments, I'm not selling any assets, and I live in Oregon where there's no sales tax, so it makes it easy for me. Then I'm gonna go into how much cash is actually being spent and goes out of the bank account. And you can see it's a simple input that you put in, and maybe it's $2,500 is what's gone out, right? And then maybe I'm paying my vendors, right? So I've got to pay my vendors maybe $500, right? So right now I've spent $3,000. If I have that loan, that $10,000 loan, I've got to make some payments on that loan. So maybe the payments are $175 a month. Did I purchase anything? Not right now, but maybe if I do, I can put that in. And then if I'm collecting sales tax, I'm gonna have to pay sales tax out. So I'm gonna put that in there. If my business is doing really well, depending on how it's structured, I might have some dividends where I pay owners. And there you go. Really simple, easy to use, but it requires that you know all of that information in your head and you understand accounts receivable, accounts payable. And so if you know that, you can use this. If you need a little help, if you're thinking, I don't know, how do I know how much money I have coming in from accounts receivable? Well, LivePlan is great for that. You can see that we allow you to do a projected cash flow, and to do that, we walk you through all of this. And you can see that we have some cash flow assumptions, and we can actually go in and we can say 100% of my sales are on credit, meaning I invoice my customers, but I'm having my customers pay in 15 days. So LivePlan does all of this for you, and you don't have to think about it or know the formulas or figure out how to calculate them. It's all right there. So if you're a little uncertain or you don't know, jump to LivePlan, easy to use. If you know what you're doing and you want that free template, go ahead and download it and off you go. And just like that, you've got a working profit and loss and cash flow forecast for your small business financial projections. So what are the next steps? I really encourage you, get comfortable with numbers and play with them. What if sales are higher? What if your rent increases? What if you need that new truck? Use the template for scenario planning. It's easy to do. You can update this regularly with your actual numbers. And remember, LivePlan makes this even easier. We've got an offer in the description. Like our video, subscribe for more small business advice. Comment with your questions about small business financial projections. We want to hear from you.